welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be refacing pillows that we have just laying around our house with some household items that we do not use anymore. So I have a blanket here. I'm going to be cutting up and using both sides of this blanket. I have some yarn that was laying around the house that we're going to use today as well, and some felt. So if you are interested in seeing what magic we create with this throw pillow, go ahead and keep watching.
Okay, so we are going to start by cutting a slit into the blanket here. We just want to cut one side. I cut maybe about half of the blanket. And what we're going to do is actually turn this blanket over. So see, that is the slit right there that I cut. We're going to put the pillow actually into the part that I did not cut. So we want to not sew or not hot glue or anything like that. Any pieces that we don't have to, we want to make this as easy as humanly possible. And by doing that, we are just going to cut this side here. So you want to cut the blanket all the way down. I left maybe about 2 inches or so, I think, at the end of the pillow, just for extra fabric. That way I could go ahead and hot glue that. So we've removed the pillow. We're going to flip it inside out. Very important that you flip it inside out. We're going to start hot gluing all of the edges down together. If it's not inside out, your pillowcase will be inside out, or you'll have a really funky seam on your pillow. So we went ahead and just put the pillow in there to make sure that it fit, make sure that I was, doing everything correctly. Turn that right side in, and then you're going to go ahead and put that pillow right back into that blanket. We are then going to close the seam on the side of the pillow. There's a little extra fabric here, so I went ahead and just cut that off. We don't want to play with too much fabric. And then what I did basically was tucked in that bottom portion there, and then the top portion that's a little bit more fuzzy on the blanket, I went ahead and folded that over because we do want to see more of the fuzziness on the front face of the pillow instead of that like slick back side. So here I'm just hot gluing any loose ends that we have going on with the pillow, making sure everything is all tucked in good and ready to go. All right, so we also want to cut off any excess fabric we have hanging off of the pillow. We really want to make sure that the pillow is super clean looking from all sides and especially from the front. Taking my hot glue gun one more time and just going to go ahead and tack down all of these sides. So we want to make sure that everything looks very, very neat. And after we do all of that, the pillow is done. So on to pillow number 2. I've already cut out a rectangle from the blanket. Right here, I am just taking the pillow and measuring out about 2 inches again off of all 3 sides here. We want to make sure to cut off any excess that we have on the pillow so it's easier to work with. So next step in this process is to go ahead and hot glue 2 sides. So the short side and the long side. I'm sorry for the camera angle here. I don't know what was happening. It looks like I'm cutting off some more of the excess there, but I am going to be hot gluing the short side first and tacking that down and then working my way along the long side here as well. So upon gluing your pillow, you can see here that my fabric is not cut super evenly. I didn't really worry about it too much because the fabric edges are just going to be flipped inside of the pillow and you won't be able to see them. So I went ahead and flipped the pillowcase right side in. I'm putting the pillow in there and we are actually going to start laying down some of our felt on our pillow. So here I was really just looking at it and I'm super visual, so I want to see what things are going to look like before I obviously decide on doing them. I like to put them on the surface that we're working with, so that's just what you're watching here. So I decided to do a square pattern on the right hand side of all of my felt. I'm cutting about a 2-inch, I would say a 2-inch strip on the piece of felt here. Again, you can see that this is totally scrap felt. I had probably made something like with my son with it. But we are using, again, all the materials that we have in the house, so we don't have to buy anything, which is really, really great. Cutting out those squares, I'm super visual again, so I just really like to know what it's going to look like on top of my pillow. So I went ahead and laid down those squares there, and once I decided that I liked it, I will go ahead and glue those squares onto that light piece of felt. So with this next step, I'm going to go ahead and fold over this lighter piece of felt. For me, it's easier to ensure that I have a straight line when I place my hand on the felt and then take my scissors and cut between my hand and the felt, if that makes sense. That's the easiest way for me to explain it. I'm then going to pick up this piece of felt, lay it on my pillow, and just really decide, where I want it. I wanted this a little bit off center, more to the right hand side. I'm also going to take this darker piece of felt, place that on the pillow so I can really just visualize the pattern of what I want it to look like. Here I'm deciding if I want to do stitches on the felt or if I want to use yarn or how I want this to go. I definitely wanted a little bit something extra. I'm taking the scissors now, trimming off those edges of the felt just so it lines up with my pillow perfectly. So here I am gluing down that piece of felt that we have been working with on the pillow. I want to make sure that this is attached first. That way I really have a guideline, obviously, to attach the darker piece of felt to. I'm just tucking in those edges as well to make sure it's super clean. Okay, so this is where everything starts to go wrong. I'm clearly cutting on the wrong side of the felt. You want to make sure to make that cut on the longest side of the felt. I cut it on the shortest side, which I don't know why. I have no idea why I did that, but look, it leaves me completely short. I was getting so frustrated. I was like, oh my God, how could I have did this? But what I did was I took that piece that I had cut off of it. I'm just kind of trying to patchwork it in. I could have went ahead and, went out to the store and bought another piece of felt, but since the pillow is just for my house, it's just for my family, I'm not giving it to anybody, I'm not selling it, or I'm not doing anything like that. I decided just to keep it a little bit patchy, because, I guess it's good for the video, right? Everybody has, and makes mistakes. So I'm just gluing down this piece. Actually, both pieces, of felt. And again, this is where it's going wrong. You should you decide to put stitches on like I do, or like I did, you want to go ahead and stitch the felt first. Do not glue it down to your pillow, because then you will be trying to put a needle through glue, which is pretty difficult. So with all of these hiccups, I am just going through with it. I have a yarn needle here that I got from Walmart, super, super cheap. I think it came in like a pack of 3 or something like that. And I'm going to start stitching my pillow. I'm just going to do long stitches here. They don't really have to be perfect. Again, this is kind of a homemade thing, so it doesn't really matter if it's imperfect, for me at least. But you can also see I'm just on the struggle bus here with trying to put the needle through this pillow. So I'm just tying off the edge of this yarn here. All right, look at our lovely Frankenstein pillows. So now we are going to be tucking in that bottom piece, because I do want the felt to kind of wrap around the back side of the pillow. That way it looks a little bit cleaner from the front. So I'm just going to glue this bottom side down here, making sure to press the felt and the remainder of the fabric down to really glue it good. Okay, so I am cutting off a little bit of the excess of that fabric because there was that funky corner that didn't really have a piece of this rust colored fabric on it. So I did want to make it as consistent as possible because of the earlier mistake. So I'm taking glue, hot glue again, and just pressing it down on the pillow, making sure that everything is as clean as humanly possible. All right, and this concludes pillow number 2. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching me, even though things were a little bit rough at the end there. Please let me know if you want to see any other things in the comment box below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.